This Mystery Box Show story is brought to you by Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve has all the toys, gear, and accessories you need, whether you're playing with a partner, flying solo, or partying with a group of your most intimate friends. For free shipping in the US and Canada and 50% off one item, go to adamandeve.com and use the code MYSTERY and make some sexy stories of your own. Please put your hands together for Stephanie Crowley.
It's 1983. I'm almost 14 and I'm about to start high school. And for the first time, our health education is going to have a section on sex education. And I'm very excited about this. So before class even gets going, I get my textbook and I'm skipping all the boring stuff and going right to the sex ed section. And I'm flipping through, and as I'm browsing through, I come across this sentence. When aroused, the male organ will get hard and grow 2 to 3 times its normal size. Now, this idea freaks me out. Like, freaks me the fuck out. I am borderline terrified at this concept. And I think, nope, not gonna happen. I'm probably just going to be a virgin for the rest of my life, somewhat regretfully, but I think that's a good decision at this point. Now, to understand why I got so freaked out about this, we have to go back to the beginning. As a small child, I was exposed to several adult male penises. Now, just as an aside, I know that that was abusive. I've done a lot of work on this. I feel completely healed with everything that happened to me as a child. So we're good. You don't have to worry about me. This is not where this story is going. This is just a fact that you need to understand for the rest of my story to make sense. So I saw a lot of penises as a young kid, and they were all erect, but I didn't know that. Nobody told me that. And at that age, I don't think I had the conceptual framework to even understand that exposing themselves to me had any level of sexual arousal for these people. So then I get a little bit older, and I had the opportunity to see penises on some of my contemporaries. And they looked very different. They were small and soft, almost friendly, like you wanted to pet them. But even then, I didn't clue in. Like, in my mind, I wasn't thinking, these are flaccid penises and these are erect penises. I was thinking, because at this point, I know enough about puberty to know that when you hit puberty, your body changes. You grow hair, girls grow breasts, guys' junk gets bigger. So I thought, okay, these are child penises, prepubescent penises, and these are adult penises, post-pubescent penises. So for a good portion of my life, I thought that every guy was just walking around with something about, maybe that long, maybe that big around, just in his pants. Mowing the lawn, watching TV. That's just what you had tucked away. So when I read in my textbook that it will grow hard and get 2 to 3 times size, hell no. No. How does that even work? How does that even fit? Like, literally, that's gonna come up to here inside me. Isn't that gonna be like shoving organs out of the way? And not just in there, but and hard? Like, what are we talking? Mahogany? Marble? And I know this is supposed to be enjoyable. Every movie, every television commercial, everything tells me that everyone loves sex and it's a great thing. But I can't imagine any way that this is anything other than insanely painful, much less pleasurable. So I think, okay, probably not going to have penetrative sex at all for the rest of my life, but there is sex ed, so we'll wait. We'll see. Maybe there's a trick to it. I mean, people do this every day, right? There's got to be something that I'm missing. So I get into sex class, and the teacher says, this is a safe space. You can ask any question. Whatever is said in this room will remain in this room. There are no dumb questions. But we all know that's not true. Because this is high school, and there absolutely are dumb questions. And if I ask a dumb question in sex ed, there's no way it's staying in this room. 5 minutes after the bell rings, there will be people out in the hallways. I can't believe that stupid question Stephanie asked in sex ed. And I haven't started dating yet. And some of these guys in class are really cute, and I don't want to burn my bridges already with them thinking I'm dumb about sex. So I decide I'm just going to stay quiet and see what happens. So we're going through sexual education, and none of this is really new, and nothing is explaining this to me. I'm not getting any clue how this all works. And we're starting to now run out of time in the segment. And so finally, I bite the bullet. And do women ever bruise their lungs during sex? And the teacher looks very perplexed. And he says, do you mean your breasts, your chest? I said, no, your lungs. And I'm trying not to look around the class. I'm focused on the teacher, but even in my peripheral vision, I can see everyone else is just as confused as he is. I'm thinking, I'm such an idiot, they can't even tell what I'm asking. So I think he thought that I was concerned about the weight of someone bigger and heavier on me, because he starts talking about, you don't have to do the missionary position, the woman can be on top, here are some other positions that are possible. And I'm thinking, this is not helping me. And when he finally finished talking, he said, did that answer your question? I said, So this is where I am. A little bit after this, I started dating. And throughout high school, I was always seeing somebody or other. So I think I progressed pretty normally through the phases of sexual exploration. But with every date, every boyfriend, everything, I was very careful to stay away from what I thought was that point of that erection. Number one, because I am not ready to see that up close and personal, but also because this is Massachusetts in the 1980s. I was raised in a very Catholic environment, and it has been made abundantly clear to me at this point that if you give a guy an erection, you are responsible for what happens next. Yeah, thank God I don't believe that anymore. But at the time, this was like gospel among every girl that I knew. If you gave a guy an erection, he was going to have to ejaculate. And if you gave him the erection, you were going to have to be part of that. And I didn't want any part of that. So if I was with a guy and I saw what looked to me like an impending erection, muscles tightening up, I would back off. I would cool it down. I would slow it down. Of course, what I didn't know is that every penis I encountered post-puberty was already erect. And what I thought were the signs of a pending erection were actually the signs of a guy getting ready to come. And I cock-blocked every damn one of them. High school boyfriends, I am so sorry. I didn't know. So this is how my dating life goes until senior year. Senior summer, I've graduated, I'm getting ready to go to college, and I'm dating this sweet guy, very sweet guy. And even though he's a year older than me, I am his first serious girlfriend. So we go out a couple nights a week in his car, and we park and, behind the baseball field or down some rut in the woods or something, and just play, have fun. So at one point, I asked him, would you jack off in front of me? Now, part of this is because I feel like I'm finally ready to see what that erection looks like. But the other part was educational. I figure if I'm not going to be doing the one thing that everyone seems to want, I better be good at everything else. I want to see how he's going to handle himself as opposed to how I would handle him. And this was the really brilliant part, if he gives himself the erection, I'm not responsible. Yeah? I can just watch and he can take care of himself. Good plan. So he agrees. He'll do that for me. So there we are in his gremlin. Sitting in the very well-worn bucket seats. We are parked at the backloading dock of the pet store where he works during the day. Romantic, right? There's not a lot of light where we are, but there's enough light down at the other end of the parking lot that you can see in the car. And he gets his pants down, and he gets a wad of tissues in his right hand, and he goes to work. Now, at first, all I'm thinking is, wow, that's violent. He's gonna break that thing. That's a lot rougher than I would have thought to, okay, note to self, don't be afraid to use a little muscle in the future. But it isn't too long before I realize he's not changing size. And this really confuses me because I thought, it's like bread dough, right? It doesn't go from this to this in the oven in 1 second. There's like a growing process, right? So I'm watching him, and he's not getting any bigger. And then I see his shoulders start to tense up, his eyes squinch, his whole face squinches shut, and I think, okay, here we go. This is the moment. And he takes the hand with the tissues, brings it to the tip of his penis, and he comes. And he hasn't changed size the whole time. And now I'm really confused. And I'm thinking, okay, can guys ejaculate without getting an erection? Does he need to get inside someone to get erect? Maybe that's how it works. You get it in while it's small and manageable, and then it grows from there? And I turned to him to start asking some of these new questions, and I looked down in his lap, and before I could stop myself, I blurted out, "Oh my God, it's so little!" So there was a lot going on for me in that 1 or 2 seconds. On the one hand, this was the aha moment. This was the moment when everything suddenly clicked into place. Everything else suddenly made sense. And there was this huge wave of hope. Like, that's an erection? I can totally handle that. I could have penetrative sex. I could have a relationship with someone who wanted that kind of sex. I could get married. I could have children. Whole vistas were now open to me that weren't previously. And at the same time, I recognize that "it's so little" is not something you ever want your first girlfriend to say to you. And he's, crumpled over on his side of the bucket seat and he's not looking at me, and he's looking deflated in all senses of the word. And I was trying to explain to him what this meant to me, how this was actually a really good thing. And I don't know that he heard any of it. And I still feel a little bad that this happened to this very sweet and really wonderful guy. But at the same time, I was so grateful that he gave me this opportunity to change my entire worldview around sex, to realize before I even went off to college the different possibilities that were now open to me. And since then, I have successfully had sex many times. And I'm happy to report that my lungs are just fine. Thank you.